My life in Spokane was a fresh start. After many years living in noisy, crowded apartment complexes, I decided to look for a quieter place. I rented a small, detached house tucked away in a peaceful suburban neighborhood. It had a tiny garden and a sense of privacy I had never had before. Everything went so smoothly that at times I felt I had overstated it by calling this my new life. It was simply life, but much slower and more pleasant. It was a Friday night around 9 p.m., and I was engrossed in a documentary on Netflix. After a tiring week of work, the idea of cooking seemed like an insult. I decided to treat myself to a convenient meal and ordered from my favorite Italian restaurant, about a 15-minute drive away. The estimated delivery time was about 45 minutes. I shoved my phone into my pocket, returned to the couch, and focused on the screen. About 20 minutes later, while I was still trying to follow the breeding process of a rare bird, the doorbell suddenly rang. Ding, ding. I frowned. That early? I wondered. The delivery service had never been that fast, especially on a Friday night. I stood up, walked to the front door, and looked through the peephole. A first feeling of suspicion rose in me. A man stood at the door. He was wearing an ash-gray hoodie, the hood pulled up, obscuring most of his face. Notably, this person was not carrying any food bag, no large paper bag, no insulated bag, no sign of a delivery person. His hands were empty, and he stood quite close to the door. I hesitated. Usually, a delivery person would stand back a step, holding the food bag, ready to hand it to the customer. This one did not. I took a deep breath, and out of instinctive caution, I only cracked the door, using the safety chain to keep it from opening too wide. A gap wide enough to speak through, but not enough for someone to shove through. "Hello," I said. "I ordered food." The man stepped back half a step, his gaze a bit evasive. His voice was low and slightly hoarse, as if he was intentionally speaking quietly. "Ah, yes," he stammered, not looking into my eyes. "I'm the delivery driver. I want to confirm the order a bit before I take it out of the car." I almost laughed. Take it out of the car? The idea was absurd. Who would check the order with the customer before bringing it to the door? All the delivery drivers I'd met would deliver the food, confirm the name, then wish me a good meal. Moreover, his vehicle was not within my sight, and I didn't hear any engine or vehicle noise at all. My suspicion quickly turned into a cold alarm. This was not a delivery person. He was acting. "No need," I said, holding the door tight, my voice becoming sharper. "What is my food? Tell me." He stiffened. I need to check the invoice in the car. It seems complicated." I shook my head. "Not complicated. It's a portion of pasta and a portion of salad. If you're the delivery person, you'd know." By now, I understood the situation clearly. This was a clumsy ruse, and I was lucky to have looked through the peephole before opening the door fully. Intruders often use such scripts to distract or force tenants to open the door. I was prepared for an uncompromising confrontation. My heart thumped in my chest, but I tried to keep my voice calm and decisive. "Listen," I said, pushing the door closed a little more, narrowing the gap. "If you didn't bring my food to the door, then you're not the delivery person, and you have no reason to be standing here." A cold wave of alarm ran down my spine immediately. The door was still secured by the safety chain, but it wasn't enough to calm me. When I pushed the door nearly closed and told him he had no reason to be there, the man in the hoodie froze. The initial hesitation was gone, replaced by an expression of irritation and annoyance, like an amateur actor who had just been caught messing up his lines. "Hey, no need to be so harsh," he muttered, his voice sounding like he was trying to stay calm, but I could sense the tension. "I just wanted to make sure I'm delivering to the right person." "No need to make sure anymore," I replied firmly. My hand still gripped the edge of the door, ready to slam it shut at any moment. "I told you, if you didn't bring the food to the door, you're not my delivery guy. My order is a box of pasta and a salad, nothing complicated. If you don't leave right now, I'll call the police." I emphasized the word police with an uncompromising tone. It wasn't an empty threat. My hand was already in my pocket, gripping my phone, an old iPhone but fully charged and ready. In that face-off moment, all my senses were on high alert. I was the storyteller, but right then, I was the protagonist in a B-grade horror movie. The man stared at me through the narrow gap of the door. The short distance allowed me to see his eyes more clearly, sunken, probing, almost angry. He had failed his first attempt. After a few tense seconds, though it felt like an eternity to me, he stepped back once, then again. All right, he mumbled, his voice fading. He turned, pulled his hood lower, and quickly walked away from the porch. I watched him through the crack and the peephole. He didn't head toward a parked car. He simply walked briskly toward the end of the street. I didn't see him get into a vehicle or do anything else a real delivery person would. I slammed the door shut, locked every bolt, and stepped back, exhaling deeply. Adrenaline was still surging through my veins. I pulled out my phone without hesitation. The first thing I did was call the Italian restaurant. A young woman, probably the cashier, answered. "Hi, David," she said. "How can I help you? Your order just got prepared and the driver will be leaving in about 5 minutes." "What? 5 minutes?" I almost shouted. "Are you sure?" "About 20 minutes ago, a man came to my door saying he was your delivery driver, but he didn't have any food and was acting really suspicious." The employee sounded confused. "Oh, I'm 100% sure no one's been sent yet. We're still waiting for the driver to pick up the order. Are you sure that man said he was from our place?" "He said he wanted to check the order before taking the food from his car," I recounted. "Anyway, that confirms my suspicion. The food hasn't even left, so that man definitely had bad intentions." A shiver ran through me. If I had opened the door completely, what could have happened? He had a script, and I was lucky enough to catch the flaw. After confirming my delivery address and asking the restaurant to be cautious, I ended the call. I locked the door again, just to be sure. I went around the house, checked every window, and drew the curtains. The next step was to report the incident. Even though I wasn't hurt and nothing was stolen, this was clearly an attempted setup for a crime. I didn't want to wait until the real food arrived, or until something similar happened to someone else in the neighborhood. I looked up the non-emergency number for the Spokane Police Department and called. A dispatcher answered. I explained everything. I had ordered food, a suspicious man came to my door without food, his absurd story, and my confirmation with the restaurant that the order hadn't been sent. I gave the most detailed description I could of the man, wearing an ash gray hoodie, hood pulled over his face, low hoarse voice, no delivery items, and he left on foot with no nearby car. The dispatcher listened professionally. She said she would file a report of a suspicious individual and a possible scam attempt to access a residence. "We'll log this into the patrol record, David," she said. "Officers on patrol will be notified to keep a closer eye on your area, especially in the evenings. However, since no actual break-in occurred and the person has left, we won't dispatch an officer right now." I accepted that. I understood the police had other priorities and that this was merely a suspicious event, not an active crime. I hung up, still feeling heavy. I no longer felt completely safe in my quiet little home. The sense of being watched, of being targeted, was deeply unsettling. About 15 minutes later, the real delivery driver arrived. He was a young man with a bright red insulated bag. He stood back, holding the food, smiling politely. I opened the door quickly, took the food, and thanked him hastily. I returned to the couch but couldn't keep watching the documentary. I ate my now lukewarm dinner, listening intently to every sound outside. Every passing car, every gust of wind, every branch brushing the window made me flinch. I kept staring at the front door, where the horrifying scene had almost unfolded. I decided to go to bed early. I was certain the incident was over, just a failed attempt by some petty thief. I told myself he'd been exposed and wouldn't come back. I had no idea how wrong I was. I tried to calm myself after dinner, after the call with the police, and after confirming that the real delivery driver had already left. I tried to believe the reassurance from the dispatcher that the incident had been logged. I checked the windows and locked the doors once more, just to be sure. The small house was no longer a peaceful haven. It had become a fortress I had to defend, even though I was alone. I decided to go to bed early, hoping that sleep would erase the unease. I turned off all the lights in the house except for a small bedside lamp that left a faint glow. Around 10 p.m., I went to bed, slipped my phone under the pillow, and tried to close my eyes. But sleep didn't come. Every small sound startled me. The wind whistling through the cracks, the dry branches tapping lightly on the roof. My mind kept replaying the image of the man in the hoodie standing at the door, that probing gaze through the narrow gap. He had failed at the front door. Had he really given up? Time passed in unbearable tension. I lay there, staring at the dark ceiling, not knowing whether I had drifted into sleep or was still trapped between wakefulness and fear. Around 11:30 p.m., the terrifying silence of the night was broken by a small, sharp sound. Scrape, scrape. That wasn't the wind. That wasn't the trees. The sound came from the back of the house, from the rear door, a worn wooden door leading to the backyard. The sound of metal against wood, faint but distinct, sent an unmistakable chill through me. My heart jumped into my throat. He was back. I lay still, holding my breath, listening. The scraping continued, this time a little stronger. I imagined him using something, maybe a screwdriver or a thin metal bar, to pry around the lock or the door frame. He was trying to disable the latch. Then the scraping stopped. I heard another sound, a hard, sudden rattle of the doorknob. Clack! Clack! Someone was clearly twisting and jerking it with force, hoping the lock would snap or the door would give way. All doubt vanished. This wasn't random, nor was it a petty thief testing his luck. The intruder had been discovered, left, and yet returned, determined to finish what he started. The delivery man act had just been reconnaissance, a way to survey the interior and see if the house was occupied. I acted almost on instinct. No thinking, no hesitation. Step 1, call 911. I grabbed my phone, hands trembling, unlocked the screen, and dialed emergency. 911, what's your emergency? I whispered into the phone, trying to keep my voice steady. Someone's trying to break into my house, the back door. I hear scraping and the doorknob rattling. Please help me. I gave the exact address of my small rental home. The dispatcher, calm and professional, immediately took the details and said officers nearby were being sent right away. She instructed me to stay silent, keep the line open, and move to the safest place possible. Step 2, find a weapon and hide. I hung up. I knew I had to stay quiet and unseen to survive. I slipped out of bed, careful not to make any noise on the old wooden floor. The only thing I could think of was self-defense. I quietly opened the kitchen cabinet near my bedroom and took out the only thing I could consider a weapon, the largest kitchen knife I owned. The blade gleamed faintly, heavy in my hand, offering a fragile sense of security. I locked the bedroom door. My room had a window overlooking the backyard. I crept to it, peeking out through a gap in the curtain. I saw no one, which meant he was still there at the door, or hiding somewhere close. I backed into the darkest corner of the room, where I'd be least visible if he broke in, and sat down on the floor. I pressed my back against the wall, clutching the knife tightly. I knew I had to remain absolutely silent. Any sound, a cough, a footstep, could alert him to my presence, tell him exactly where I was, that I was awake and waiting. Time dragged like torture. I could hear my heartbeat pounding in my ears. Although the dispatcher had said officers were on their way, I had no idea how long it would take them to reach this quiet suburb. 10 minutes? 20? I strained to listen. No more scraping, no more rattling, just silence. That silence was even more terrifying than the noise. Had he managed to force the door open? Was he creeping down the hallway? Or had he realized I'd called 911 and fled? I waited. I waited in the darkness, in suffocating stillness, ready for anything. I closed my eyes, focusing only on one thing, the sound of police sirens. That was the only sound I longed for. After what felt like an eternity, it finally came. A faint noise at first, then louder, clearer, the siren of a police car entering the neighborhood. I heard the screech of tires, car doors slamming, and then hurried footsteps followed by a firm, commanding voice. "Police, anyone home?" I still didn't dare respond right away. I stayed silent until I heard the second series of knocks and the voice calling again from the front door. I slowly stood up, still gripping the knife tightly, and stepped out of the bedroom. I stepped out of the bedroom, the kitchen knife still clenched tightly in my hand, feeling like an extension of myself. Even though the sound of sirens and the firm voices of the officers now filled the house, the tension hadn't completely faded. The adrenaline had left me numb. I walked toward the front door, pausing to look through the peephole once more, just to be sure. 2 police officers stood outside, their dark blue uniforms illuminated by the porch light. One was a tall man, the other a woman, both with serious expressions and a readiness in their stance. I slowly unlatched the chain and opened the door a crack. "Good evening," the male officer said. "We received a 911 call about a possible break-in attempt. Are you all right, sir?" "I'm fine, officer," I replied, my voice still trembling slightly. "He was at the back door. I locked myself in the bedroom until you arrived." "Understood," the female officer said. "Please stay calm. We'll check around immediately. May we come in to inspect the back door?" I quickly opened the door wider to let them in. The 2 officers entered, their eyes quickly scanning the interior. I lowered the knife and placed it on the dining table nearby. That simple act seemed to ease their alertness a little. "Please show us the back door, sir," the male officer instructed. I led them through the kitchen to the old wooden door leading to the backyard. It was still closed, but as soon as the officer shone his flashlight on the lock area, we all saw it clearly. The evidence was right there. Next to the main lock, on the wooden frame, was a cluster of fresh pry marks. Deep and jagged, they left shiny metal traces on the chipped paint. Whoever it was had used a strong metal tool, probably a small crowbar or a large screwdriver, trying to force the frame away from the latch. The marks concentrated near the top and bottom of the lock, where leverage would be strongest. The male officer crouched down and touched one of the grooves with a gloved fingertip. "Yes, these are fresh," he confirmed. "Someone definitely tried to break in." The female officer whispered into her radio, reporting the discovery, then turned to me. "Did you hear anything specific, David?" I recounted everything in as much detail as I could. Around 11:30, I heard a scraping sound coming from here. It was metal against wood. Then the doorknob rattled violently, like he was trying to yank it off. That's when I called 911, grabbed a knife, and locked myself in the bedroom. I then connected it to the earlier incident. "Officer, I think it's the same man who came to my house around 9 p.m., 2.5 hours earlier. He was wearing a hoodie, pretending to be my food delivery driver, but he didn't have any food. I sent him away and reported it through the non-emergency line." I described the man and his fake delivery act. I emphasized that his return after being caught meant this was a deliberate attempt, not some random mishap. The 2 officers exchanged a glance. "That's actually a common break-in tactic," the male officer explained. "They test the house first. If you open the door, they might rush or threaten you to get inside. If you don't, they know someone's home and might wait until you go to sleep or move to the back door once you're less alert." He swept his flashlight across the yard and the fence line. The area was pitch dark, no streetlights nearby. "We'll search the surrounding area now to see if we can spot anyone suspicious," he said. You did exactly the right thing by not opening the door and calling 911 immediately. They went outside to check along the fence and the alley behind the house, but found no one. When they returned, the female officer gave her conclusion. David will file a report for both incidents. These pry marks confirm an actual break-in attempt. Unfortunately, there's nothing more we can do tonight since no suspect was caught at the scene. The intruder likely fled the moment he heard our sirens. I felt a wave of frustration, but understood their limits. So, what should I do now? Keep your doors reinforced as best you can, the male officer advised. Tomorrow morning, call a carpenter to repair the frame and install a stronger deadbolt. Also, consider getting motion sensor lights for the backyard. That alone can deter a lot of thieves. He tried to reassure me. We'll increase patrols in this neighborhood for the next few nights. And don't worry, the information about the man posing as a delivery driver is already logged in our system. If you notice anything suspicious, anyone lingering around, call 911 right away. After taking down my information and making sure the house was locked securely, the two officers left. The sound of their patrol car faded slowly into the night. I stood silently in my house, staring at the gouges on the doorframe, the tangible proof of something terrifying. I had escaped by sheer luck. Even though the police had promised more patrols, the sense of unease lingered. I knew I wouldn't sleep that night. I picked up my phone, deciding to stay awake until dawn, and began searching for a 24-hour carpenter service. After that terrifying night, my life in the small rental house was never the same again. I followed the police's advice. The very next morning, I called a carpenter to repair and reinforce the back door, installing an extremely sturdy anti-pry lock, the kind I believed no crowbar could defeat. I also had a powerful motion sensor floodlight system installed at both the front and back doors. Any movement would make the area light up as bright as day. However, even with the upgraded security, the unease lingered. I slept restlessly, often waking up at imaginary sounds. Every time the doorbell rang, I checked carefully through the peephole, and I never opened the door for anyone I hadn't been expecting. I almost never ordered food delivery anymore. A few nights after the incident, I was lying in bed, trying to distract myself by reading. The clock showed around 1 a.m. Even though I was exhausted, I couldn't fall asleep. Suddenly, the silence of the night was broken again. But this time, it wasn't the sound of someone prying a door. Police sirens. Not the urgent wailing from that previous night, but a short burst, then silence. Then came the sound of an engine shutting off and car doors closing. It seemed they had stopped somewhere nearby. I immediately sat up. My heart raced, not with pure fear this time, but with curiosity mixed with unease. I got up and carefully peeked out the living room window through the curtain. A police cruiser was parked by the curb, a few houses down. Two officers, not the same pair from the break-in, were walking toward my house. They didn't have their flashlights on, nor did they seem in a hurry. They just knocked on the door politely but firmly. I unlocked everything, checked through the peephole one last time, and opened the door. "Good evening, David," the male officer said. A middle-aged man with a kind face. "We're sorry to disturb you at this hour." The female officer beside him gave me a gentle smile. "That's all right," I said, trying to steady my voice. "What's going on, officers?" The male officer stepped forward, keeping a respectful distance. "We just made an arrest nearby, about 3 blocks away. A man was caught trying to break into someone's house. He was apprehended in the act, attempting to pry open their window." His words jolted me fully awake. "Who is it?" The female officer pulled out a smartphone from her coat pocket. On the screen was a photo of a man's face, tired, unkempt, caught mid-glare under a harsh flash. "David," she said, her tone expectant. "Could you take a look at this and tell us if you recognize him?" I leaned closer, staring at the face. That face. Even without the hooded sweatshirt, I recognized him instantly. The deep-set eyes, the probing look, that same tense expression. It was the man who had stood at my door 2 nights earlier. "Yes," I said firmly. "That's him. The same man who came to my house pretending to be my food delivery driver. That's him." I didn't need to say more. A wave of relief so sudden and powerful nearly made me weak at the knees. He wasn't some random petty thief. He was a calculated predator, and he had chosen my neighborhood and me. The 2 officers nodded. "We thought so. He matches the description you provided in your earlier report, and he was using the same method at other homes. He's been arrested on multiple serious charges. He didn't have any ID on him, but we confirmed his identity through fingerprint records. We have his file. We're here to confirm additional evidence," the male officer continued. "Your positive identification that he scouted your home is crucial to strengthen our case and help keep him behind bars." Then the female officer added something simple, yet deeply comforting. "You won't have to worry about this man anymore, David." I thanked them repeatedly, feeling as if a massive weight had been lifted off my chest. "We'll contact you in the coming days to take a formal statement for the case," the male officer said. "You may also be asked to testify in court as a witness to confirm his identity." I agreed immediately. Though I had no desire to face him again, I was willing to do whatever it took to make sure he couldn't hurt anyone else. After the officers left, I stood there for a long moment. The house was still dark, the neighborhood quiet, but the unease was gone, replaced by a solid sense of safety. I looked out the window and saw the warm yellow glow of the motion lights I'd installed. I knew this was a new beginning, but this time it wasn't a lonely or vulnerable one. I had learned a valuable lesson in vigilance, and I had been lucky. The break-in attempt had failed, and the intruder had been caught. It was a perfect ending to a terrifying chapter. I locked the door, went back to bed, and for the first time in many nights, I slept deeply and peacefully. Every story is just another whisper in the dark. If you've experienced something truly terrifying, send it to Dark Whispers Audio. Let your story be told in the night. Subscribe now, for the darkness still holds many secrets.